Hey everyone, welcome to Architecture Today. Something we take it for granted when we're in our workspace or even where we live. We don't always look at the architecture. We appreciate it and how it's well designed, but we never think about who's actually doing it. We're going to talk today with a well-known architect in the New York City area. His name is John Riggio, and he joins us today. John, welcome. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Steve?
Very well, very well. I want to dig into what's hot now in terms of architecture. Is it contemporary styles? Is that still something big now?
Yes. Everything is contemporary styles. I think, with the exception to any building department requirements, all the styles we're working on is pretty much contemporary. I have a few different kinds of contemporary styles depending on what neighborhood and what the houses look like. And I think I showed them on my webpage. I have a number of examples there where it shows a lot of contemporary styles. And also the materials and the methods of building the house is also contemporary too. We're using a lot of new technologies, things like superior walls. We're going with thin stone and all kinds of newer materials, going with the drive-it materials, and a lot of things like with the composite wood in a lot of locations, particularly on decks and things like that, porches. So everything is really the newest technology, also the most energy efficient technology, and that's really what's going on with the houses.
Let's take a look at that. Now, there's a house that we have that you designed from the bottom up. It's that gray house, which I love this style. You know, sometimes Victorian style is kind of nice, but this style just always looks nice. It pops. It just looks very clean. And is that something that's big today? And is that what people are asking for when they ask you to design a house?
Yes, yes. I would propose different design styles to them, and a lot of these we're going with a drive-it. We're going with some thin stone, things like that. We still are using also brick. A lot of houses still have a brick. They're either a full-size brick or a thin brick.
Now, when we
And
talk brick, are we talking about traditional, the red brick that we're used to, or are we talking about different stone on the face of the house?
some of them might have a newer style. They might have like a white stone brick, things like that. They would have a variety of different styles. Depending on what the location is, how the style of the house looks, we would adjust the materials on on the house.
When you mentioned superior walls, that's like one of the newest innovations. We have a picture of that as the house is being constructed, and super cool. Now, what exactly is a superior wall?
Okay, superior wall is a sandwich of concrete, metal, and insulation, and they make this in a factory based on my drawings. They take it, make their own shop drawing. They make the forms for it, and then they take these large pieces and they put them on a truck and they bring them to the site and they install them with a crane. And that is the newest style right now. And it is very cost saving, and they are getting a lot out of it as far as the insulation and things like that.
When we say superior wall, I want to better understand it. Is it the foundation being built up, or are we actually talking about the walls of the house?
This is just the foundation. The walls
Okay.
of the house is still being constructed in the traditional um, wood frame construction.
With studs, wood, plywood, and sheetrock, just as it always has
Yes,
been.
yes. A lot of these larger houses, the walls are 2 by 6 instead of 2 by 4. Because since the ceiling heights might go up to 10 feet, the wall thicknesses we have to use 2 by 6 wood framing. So there's some of them are very large.
What's your favorite style?
Well, I've been going with usually designing a contemporary style that's coming out to either like a contemporary of a traditional house, contemporary of colonial house. So that's really what the styles I'm using.
When we talk about the different styles, what about if somebody wants to renovate their house? What's the process for that? Let's say, you have an older brick house and you want to go for maybe something more contemporary or maybe Victorian, whatever it might be. Is there a lot involved in doing that? Do you have to kind of pare it all down from the beginning and work your way up, or is it easy to design something like that?
Yes, I always work on those kind of houses where we're taking an existing house, might have brick on it, and we're completely gutting it out, changing the
Is it
style,
truly
adding
gutted,
onto
or
it.
you just take it right down to the studs or the plywood and then work from there?
Yes, everything is removed right down to the 2 by 4 walls that are
Wow.
existing. Sometimes you might bring the whole house right down to the existing foundation and build the whole thing over, new floors, new walls. This is a current trend going on. People can save some money keeping the foundations, and the whole finished product looks like a new house and has all new electrical systems, mechanical, everything is brand new.
I've often heard that when you're going to renovate a house, and I did this way back in the day, that if you keep the existing footprint of the foundation, typically your taxes won't be as high as if you build out the footprint where you add a room. Is that true?
Yes, that's the number one consideration with leaving the foundations. There's a few issues. One of them is a tax issue. Another one is getting additional permits that when you apply for all the additional permits and have to get all the different specialties as far as the different constructions concerned, sometimes there are some stops involved. A lot of people don't want to take the chances on that. They by keeping the existing foundations, the old tax rate is going to stay in place longer. So they're getting an edge on that too. It's going to take them a number of years before the tax rate is going to increase. They're going to increase the value of the house. So a lot of people are going ahead with keeping their old foundation walls and just building over it. I think overall, as far as the construction is concerned, if you don't mind going for the extra permits and things, it is more streamlined to just go ahead with a brand new house from that kind of perspective. Just remove the old foundations. You could also correct a lot of problems on the job site. If there's anything wrong with the job site, old oil tanks in the ground, things like that, you can clean up the whole place. Any problems with water drainage? Sometimes there's existing problems where the water was draining onto the property, maybe going to the basement. So that gives you an opportunity to regrade the property too. So if you can really go big with the extra changes, you would probably like the end product better. I think the as far as the taxes and costs of construction, eventually I think the tax rate is going to catch up on the house eventually. On a new house that you know you're going to pay more right away. I mean, they're gonna give you the higher tax rate sooner than doing just the major alteration. I think on the picture you had shown there, on that particular property, there were some issues of the ground sloping from the right side of the property to the left, and by having the complete new house on that, we were able to correct a lot of them. We put a whole water retaining wall and different kinds of things in the property, upgraded all the electrical services under the ground, and things like that. So all those things corrected some problems they had in the past, and you can get more from doing that. That is, you get more out of your project.
I want to get technical. I have an architect, so I can ask him anything. So this is what I'm really curious. Let's say you keep the foundation, but
Yes.
you want to add some rooms. So now you're going to build up from that. How do you know that the foundation can support that? The load-bearing walls and all of that. How do you calculate that? How are you mindful of that?
That's from building standards. That is from years of experience, starting in architect school and learning from experience, reading the building code of what size foundations they have, what the foundation looks like, if it has a footing. And from things like that, we would usually inspect the site. I would inspect the site. I would look at the different things like the survey and the existing house, measuring the house, things like that. And from that, I can then determine what kind of structure is required, if any repairs are necessary too before the structure is constructed. And then from there, then they could then build a house to code and within the specifications we have.
What's really big now is 3D drawings, and I know that you do that as well. At what point do you present those 3D drawings? Is it when everything is almost ready to be actually constructed, or is it sometime before that? What's the process?
Usually the 3D drawing is after we go through the design process. A lot of times the homeowners would like to see what the finished product is going to look like in case they have last minute changes. So that's when we usually would make the 3D drawing. And I think one drawing that's on my webpage is also a walkthrough of the interior of the house. And that is to give the owners an idea of how all the different spaces are going to look like. I think one particular house I have shown on my webpage has a double height space on the entrance and a double height family room. And so the owners are able to really look at that and get an idea if everything is going to look as how we envision it on our design plans, and from there they could make any last minute changes. They could also make the last minute changes on any type of materials. Looking at the 3D drawing, they might want to make changes in either the texture of the materials, the maybe the colors of the materials, things like that.
It's super cool because you also put furniture in. Just as a placeholder, but to see what it looks like, what your house is going to look like, let's say the bedroom or the living room, to have that furniture placed in, it kind of gives you almost like a real feel of you walking through your house. When you work with somebody, do they know what they want every single time, or do you have to work with them? Do you say, hey, you know what, we could do a vaulted ceiling, we could add this to your house? How does that usually work with the people that come to you to get designs?
I think people usually have an idea. A lot of times they would reference another project I worked on, or I would show them some jobs that I have, and they might point out one thing that they were interested in, what they like, how it looks. And from there, I would then make design drawings. And usually from that, I would use my experience and the knowledge of the building code to make their plans work for them. They would work good and bring everything to the current styles also, that they are also going to look in a contemporary style as far as the outside of the house, and even the inside spaces of the house is going to work to what most people are using. And even things like the kitchen layout, sometimes the design of the kitchen layout changes over the years. It slightly changes. You might go from a an island that is freestanding to a L-shaped kitchen or U-shaped kitchen, things like that. So there's current trends that slightly change over time.
Open concept, is that still something that's big?
Yes, it is. Everyone would like to open up the living room walls or walls between the kitchen and the dining room and the family room, have one open space. Everyone is still going with that idea. And
Been around for a long time. I'm thinking, I had it in a house that I bought, probably 2014 somewhere, and it seemed like it was still very popular. But it really does make sense because you spend so much time in the kitchen. You want to make that the gathering spot as well. A lot of times people don't even go to the living room. They just hang out in the kitchen, especially during holidays.
yes, I think there's the newest trend is people are going for more of a covered porch.
I'm sorry, what?
They are really interested in a covered porch, either covered in the front of the house or covered in the rear of the house.
Oh, I love that
covered
idea
deck.
because it's almost wasted. It's almost like it's just, you pass by a house, yeah, it's a nice porch, looks really cute, but what do you use it for? Somebody walks up to the front door and that's it. So you're talking about using that porch as a living space.
Yeah, I think well, for a while there were different trends. A lot of people going for the sunrooms. They have four season sunrooms,
Right.
and they're going for the like sunrooms that are wood, a screened in covered porch. And right now they're just putting a roof over the porch. Just put a simple roof, no screens, no windows, no skylights. This is the new trend that's been going on, and I've been working on a lot of these type of jobs.
I always wonder, you mentioned sunrooms. If you want something more of a four season, why have a sunroom? Just make that another room. This is a question. I'm not sure why people do
Well,
that.
Four Season is really a brand name.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a company, but is it really?
Yes, I think yes. I think originally with those type of sunrooms was really the issue of heating the room, and the sunrooms that were enclosed with glass, you really cannot heat them. They're really just an exterior room where you have to open the windows, let air in. So a lot of people, that trend sort of went away for a while, and most people are just going with like open room, and and presently they're going with adding a roof over those type of
Right.
spaces.
And yeah, to your point with the R factor and the insulation, if you're going to have a sunroom, you can't really heat it because that glass is not going to prevent the cold from coming in because there's a lot of glass in that sunroom.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.